you, ladies and gentlemen. We can listen to what he's going to say, Dr. Magamase.
Honorable Minister of Lands, Agriculture, Fisheries, Water and Rural Development, Dr. Anxious Jongwe Masuka, here represented, Permanent Secretary in the same ministry, Dr. Basera, here represented, our guest of honor, here present, TRB Board Chairperson, Mr. Stanley Mutefa, in absentia, TRB Board members, fellow heads of Parastate House, senior government officials here present, representatives from grower associations and merchants associations, TRB staff, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, a very good morning to you all. May I say what a pleasure it is to have you today supporting this historic and momentous event, the TRB rebranding ceremony. I warmly welcome you and also thank you for taking the time out of your very busy schedules to be with us. My role this morning is to take you through the journey that has got us here. As many of you know, the Tobacco Research Board was established through an Act of Parliament in 1950 with an exclusive mandate to carry out all tobacco research in Zimbabwe and indeed outside Zimbabwe should it be prudent to do so. In its 73 years of existence, TRB has contributed immensely to the development of the Zimbabwean tobacco industry, which we believe commands a premier position on the continent. However, the local international operating environment has changed immensely in these 73 years, compelling TRB to evolve to adapt to these changes. So you may ask, what has been some of these changes? Well, I can start with the World Health Organization Framework Convention on Tobacco Control. There is anti-tobacco sentiment has grown since the establishment of the TRB, compelling a strategic focus on research into alternative uses of tobacco and profitable alternative crops to tobacco. The WFCTC presents an existential threat to the tobacco industry, compelling us to have greater focus on research into alternatives and alternates. And some of these are cannabis and industrial hemp. What about climate change? Various concerns have come through, and the resultant shortening of seasons and frequent drought have taken center stage. Accordingly, TRB has dedicated itself to promoting the sustainable production of tobacco. What about the changes brought about by the Fourth Industrial Revolution? We found ourselves amid a Fourth Industrial Revolution, which has seen the greater use of artificial intelligence and predictive data analytics in agriculture and the rise of precision agriculture in monitoring, diagnosing insect pests, measuring soil moisture, diagnosing harvest time, and monitoring crop health status. TRB is evolving to meet the challenges and exploit the opportunities presented by the Fourth Industrial Revolution. What about an expanded mandate? The government of Zimbabwe launched the National Development Strategy 1, which became operational in January 2021 and is set to run until 2025. TRB has a huge role to play in this execution of this plan by executing several activities laid out in the attendant parent ministerial plans, specifically Agriculture and Food Systems Transformation Strategy and the Tobacco Value Chain Transformation Plan, necessitating a lot of changes in the TRB programs. Against this background, the Ministry of Lands, Agriculture, Fisheries, Water and Rural Development expanded TRB's mandate under the auspices of the National Development Strategy. Now, in addition to its mandate to direct, control, and carry out tobacco research in Zimbabwe, TRB's mandate includes 1. Researching the use of fourth industrial technologies in agricultural production, conducting biofarming research, researching methods and techniques for climate proofing of crops, mainstreaming sustainable crop production methods, development of cannabis and industrial hemp varieties, and production of certified seed potato with the objective of achieving national self-sufficiency in potato production. Although we will always remain grounded in our tobacco research roots, TRB has grown behind just a tobacco research institution. to a much more diverse agricultural research institution, we have expanded the scope of our research activities, and we engage in commercial activities to help fund our research activities. Accordingly, the way we communicate and present ourselves as a brand must demonstrate our transformation. Our new corporate identity, the new branding and logo have been designed to reflect TRB's evolution and growth over the past 7 decades, its drive for innovation, and the institution's vision to be the premier agricultural research institution in the country and beyond. The new corporate identity encapsulates who we are and what we stand for. That's why I'm proud to announce our new brand identity, a new logo and tagline that reflects our expanded offerings and reaffirms our commitment to excellence in agricultural research. TRB is also undergoing a restructuring process to improve our internal capacities, capabilities, competencies to generate the requisite efficiencies for the delivery of seamless products and services. So what will be the impact of a transformed TRB, some of you might ask? Well, the transformed TRB is better positioned to continue delivering on its primary mandate, that is of conducting tobacco research. And it also do the same for its secondary mandates as given. So TRB is positioning itself to maximize its contribution to the tobacco value chain transformation and to contribute to the national development strategy and the agriculture and food systems strategy. Ladies and gentlemen, I just want to acknowledge a few people with my speech. None of this would have been possible without the hard work and dedication of our teams, as well as support of our stakeholders and partners for their contribution to the launch of our new corporate identity. Your efforts have not gone unnoticed, and we are grateful for your support. Let me once again welcome you and thank you for participating in the rebranding ceremony as the TRB unveils its new identity. Once again, welcome to the rebranding ceremony for the Tobacco Research Board. I thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Magama. Tinokutenda eni mazwi anodziya. At this moment in time, ladies and gentlemen, toda kuti timboona the history kuti kunobviwa kure, saka focus on the screens in front. Thank you.
The Tobacco Research Board was constituted as a statutory board in 1950 with a mandate to control, direct and carry out tobacco research. The first general research station was opened in 1924, but the first tobacco research station was established in 1934 in Trelawney, and subsequently others were opened in Karoe 1946 and Chipinge 1949. Kutsaga, the headquarters of TRB, was opened in 1954. The Chipinge and Karoe stations were then closed, and with the advent of the Federation, a new station was opened in Broken Hill, Northern Rhodesia, now Zambia, which was taken over by the Zambian government in 1965, following the dissolution of the Federation of Rhodesia and Nyasaland. Other research stations were opened in 1967 in Masvingo and Banket. Kutsaga provides a wide range of services from soil testing, plant clinic services and GMO screening, molecular diagnostics and DNA fingerprinting, as well as training and extension services. Growing calls to ban and restrict tobacco has seen Kutsaga broadening its area of focus beyond tobacco. Using fourth industrial revolution technologies, Kutsaga is pioneering biofarming research and development methods and techniques for the climate proofing of crops, as well as mainstreaming environmentally benign and sustainable crop production methods. Climate smart production of cannabis and hemp and the production of certified seed potato for food self-sufficiency are just some of the activities that Kutsaga is involved in as we progress into the future of smart farming. Brace yourselves for the next chapter in the evolution of Kutsaga's journey.
Oh, thank you very much. I'm sure maona kuti kunobviwa kure placement yema screens tanga chitozvita tizivane kuti kuvimba kwangu kuti vakuru vangu mabhosi angu kwatakabva tinokuziya tati tiitire vaenzi nevana ava vakawana taapano. Saka panguva ino tombopiwa entertainment neAir Force Band timbonyautsa miri kwatonhora kuseni timbotambanuka tisati tanzwa vakuru vachitaura. Maita yenyu. Kungomberawo maoko bendi ranga richingotamba rega kana kuti maamuchikopa mamoves. I would like to believe so. At this point in time, allow me, ladies and gentlemen, kuti ndisimudze zvakare utekwa wepano Dr. Frank Magama vagotisimudzira vakuru vavo. Ndaita mwana kuti ndisimudzire vakuru vebasa. Kuti vagotisimudzira vice board chair vedu Prof Mutamba Nengwe madzeremende pano Dr. Magama se.
morning once again. And sorry, allow me, I missed one of my guests. I've got friends of the organization. We've got colleagues that have come from Malawi, Agricultural Research Extension Trust among us, just to say thank you and you are recognized. We've got, I think, colleagues that have communicated also from Tanzania that they are on their way, just to show you some of our colleagues that are here to be with us on this auspicious event. But anyway, my job is actually quite easy. It's me calling my boss to come to the podium. Ladies and gentlemen, Professor Mtamba Nengwe.
Director of Ceremonies, allow me to recognize our guest of honor today, our Deputy Minister of Lands, Agriculture, Fisheries, Water and Rural Development, and Member of Parliament, Honorable D. Marapira. Welcome, sir. Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Lands, Agriculture, Fisheries, Water and Rural Development, Dr. J. Basera, here represented. Directors from the Ministry of Lands, Agriculture, thank you for coming. Directors from various ministries here present. Board members of the Tobacco Research Board. Chief Executive Officer of Tobacco Research Board, Dr. Magama. Chief Executive Officers from various government agencies here present. Executive from the agricultural industry at large, representatives from farmer organizations here present, representatives from agriculture finance houses, that one is most important, welcome. Representatives from seed organizations, also important. Representative from the Agricultural Research Associations, and our friends from Malawi, Tanzania, and the region at large, comrades and friends, ladies and gentlemen. A very good morning to you all. I mean it, a very good morning to you all. Thank you, thank you. So on behalf of the Tobacco Research Board, it is my honor and privilege to extend our warmest and welcome to you all at this launch ceremony. As highlighted by the Chief Executive Officer, the purpose of today's event is to introduce our new identity and our logo, what it stands for, and to share this pivotal moment with you, our key stakeholders. This ceremony marks a significant milestone for Tobacco Research Board as it embarks on a journey to reform and restructure to become the epicenter of national research, development, and innovation in order to contribute effectively towards the attainment of National Vision 2030 as guided by the national blueprints. Honorable Minister, it has taken the institution 73 years to get us to where we are here today. I will take this opportunity to remind you of the journey we have walked since the institution's inception. I know you've seen some images on the screen, but let me also walk you through. The Tobacco Research Board was constituted as a statutory body in 1950 with a mandate to direct, control, and carry out tobacco research in Zimbabwe. And subject to the approval of the minister, such research outside the country as it may deem to be expedient. To answer this call, the TRB is a research program purposefully designed to enable the main stakeholder, the tobacco growers to maximize returns from sustainable production practices, while at the same time facilitating and enabling stakeholders, in particular the tobacco trade, to extract utmost value from environmentally and socially responsible tobacco business practices. 3 broad creativity-based key result areas with special emphasis on enabling science-based management of tobacco by growers have been dwelt on, and these include: number 1, the provision of value-adding technical services, including information, advisory, and extension. Secondly, the provision of higher-yielding, better quality, and multi-disease resistant tobacco varieties. And number 3, the provision of innovative products and services. In terms of technical services provision, annually some 100 research trials are undertaken in broad areas of plant breeding, plant health, pesticide evaluation, and agronomy. Results from these trials are then packaged into practical information on tobacco management, which is then transmitted to growers through training and technical guides, farmer magazines, planning diaries, field days, and smallholder field guides, among other dissemination channels. This information translocation process has been complemented by the establishment since 2011 of some 3,000 tobacco improved productivity sites, what we call TIPS here at TRB, where an estimated 10,000 growers, merchants, extension workers, and other stakeholders have interacted with in discussions on best crop management practices. Honorable Minister, in terms of variety development, the TRB in the past 73 years has developed and registered some 78 flu-cured, barley, air-cured, and cigar wrapper varieties. These elite varieties have in common multiple disease resistances, high yielding potential, and have at each stage of release been well sought after styles. The yield potential of Kutsaga varieties has increased through research from about 800 kgs per hectare in the 1950s to 5,000 kgs per hectare currently, and up to 8 disease resistances have now been incorporated into hybrid crop varieties since 1960. I must add that Kutsaga varieties are not only grown in Zimbabwe, but are also sought after in the region and beyond. Our barley variety, BRK4, is widely grown in Malawi, while the flu-cured variety, KRK26R, is very popular in Mozambique, Tanzania, and Zambia. We have a high demand for our varieties from as far as Ethiopia, where KRK1 is widely sought after for its excellent leaf quality. On seed security and integrity, guest of honor say, Tobacco Research Board has not only produced well sought after varieties, but through its commercial arm, Kutsaga Seed Association, has continued to consistently produce and avail adequate certified seed varieties for Zimbabwe and beyond. Seed is produced under local, regional, and international seed protocols with further quality assurances provided by our molecular biology services in terms of cultivar identification. At any one time, seed stocks for at least 5 years are maintained for all popular varieties. Thus, the country is guaranteed of tobacco seed security. Additionally, seed storage facilities are duplicated at some of our stations to spread risk in terms of unforeseen calamities. Let me take this opportunity, sir, to appreciate our stakeholders, especially in the provision of levy, and also appeal to our trade partners to collaborate with us in capacitating the laboratories in order to hasten plant breeding innovations and also high throughput capacities for analytical services. The Tobacco Research Board has developed and availed to growers a myriad of innovative products and services, including a full complement of products for the implementation of float tray seedling production technology, tissue culture plantlet production, analytical chemistry services, and plant clinic with attendant advisory services, among others. Due to its consistent performance in the conduct of research, the TRB has continued to be held in high esteem locally and regionally for the quality of its applied research, as shown by the fact that its researchers continue to be elected to international bodies such as CORESTA as part of the technical committees. And they are also called on to participate in international collaborative trials, and that results from TRB's pesticide approval work, and trials that result from TRB's approval work are used by various agrochemical companies in the registration of their products in the rest of Southern Africa. I think this one is huge. Maybe I didn't read it properly. Let me repeat. Let me repeat it. Honorable Minister, the research that is ongoing here, particularly that on TRB pesticides approval, we're getting requests for those companies which register pesticides in Southern Africa. We're getting, we recommend what they should do as TRB. So there is a mark for Zimbabwe in all those. Thank you. Critical to achieving this accomplishment, the Tobacco Research Board has been give compliments to the dedicated staff. As a research institute, we are cognizant of the fact that the intellectual capital is our most important resource. We recognize that brain drain poses an existential risk to the institution, and our continued success depends on our ability to attract and retain the most talented agricultural scientists. The TRB has thus far, over the years, invested in the training and development of its research staff. The institution has also paid attention to succession planning and building institutional capabilities by building a culture of continuous learning through sending its researchers to acclaimed international institutions for training and on staff exchange programs for exposure purposes. We believe this has paid off, given the notable example of our current CEO, Dr. Frank Magama, who was supported by the institution and undertook postgraduate studies in the UK and came back. Yes. However, ladies and gentlemen, despite the veneer calmness and unshakability the TRB has many challenges that shook its core and demanded proactiveness and innovative thinking for it to survive. These included the need to deliver its services effectively and efficiently to an exponentially increasing grower base at a time when research resources were dwindling. Picture this. In 1990, only 1,500 farmers were registered, but this quickly rose to 7,000 in 1999, to 35,000 in 2008, and 206,000 in 2014, and we are still counting. This change necessitated a substantial increase in the research resources complement, but unfortunately the funding trend is at an opposite trajectory. The TRB had a history of receiving funding from a government grant, the tobacco levy, and through industry support, but both the levy and the industry support disappeared post-land reform, while the tobacco levy suddenly plummeted due to the learning curve on the part of the new growers, as production figures went from 237 million kgs in 1999 and as production figures they dwindled from 237 million in 1999 to a mere 48 million in 2008. The levy that had contributed 78% of income to TRB in 2000 fell to an all-time low of 5% in 2006. Following the reduction in tobacco production and attendant levy funds, TRB made a strategic decision to engage in commercial activities centered on the provision of value-adding commercial products and services to an agricultural industry in order to raise resources to complement the tobacco levy and avail adequate resources. Honorable Minister, a myriad of projects have been introduced, and starting with export flour production in 2003 and a potato seed outgrower scheme in 2004. And this then grew to include the establishment of a float tray manufacturing factory, production of attendant float seedling requirements, Irish potato generations, zero seed, tobacco seed and seedlings, eucalyptus seedlings, and a commercial tobacco crop. This culminated in the establishment of a multi-million-dollar commercial tissue culture factory at Kutsaga in 2019, which is just behind us here. The facility has the capacity to produce 1 million plantlets per cycle, and currently is in production the Irish potato, blueberries, sweet potato, and banana plantlets, among others. This strategy has paid off in a big way, with revenue generated from these commercial activities funding between 60 to 80% of our budget and ensuring the institution's survival since 2010. And our audited accounts in the last year, in 2022, show that the tobacco levy contributed some 17% of the revenue, while 83% was from our commercial activities. So it means essentially these commercial projects have ensured that the tobacco research continues. As I draw towards the end, Honorable Minister, let me also draw your attention to other activities, which include our attention with global issues, including the World Health Organization Framework Convention of Tobacco Control Treaty, which came into force on the 27th of February 2005. This has necessitated us to come out of our comfort zone, this treaty. Overall, the treaty seeks to regulate tobacco production through demand and supply side provisions, and eventually prohibiting and or banning tobacco, an existential threat to the tobacco industry. So the Framework Convention of Tobacco Control, however, provides for economically viable alternative activities for tobacco growing households, hence the refocusing of research at TRB to look at alternative uses of tobacco and alternates to tobacco. Both the paucity of funding and WHO challenges, in addition to TRB's proactive approach to research, has seen the brand evolving over the years to meet not only these challenges, but also exploit opportunities presented by the fourth industrial revolution. So the need for tobacco to evolve and transform is not only lost on the government, which through the Ministry of Lands, Agriculture, Fisheries, Water and Rural Development directed in January 2021 that the institution reforms or face a natural death, and the reform should include restructuring to become the epicenter of national research, development and innovation on tobacco, inclusive of tobacco alternatives and alternates, in order to contribute to National Vision 2030. So this directive, Honorable Minister, has since been implemented as the institution, while still very much grounded in tobacco research roots, as other activities to its survival being undertaken. I am sure the CEO walked us through what we are doing in that aspect. So today, as Tobacco Research Board, we are proud to announce our new brand identity and reveal the new logo and tagline, both of which reflect our expanded offerings and reaffirms our commitment to excellence in agricultural research. Our transformation remains work in progress as we are undergoing a restructuring process to improve our internal capacities, capabilities, and competencies to generate the requisite efficiencies for our delivery of the new mandate. So as we move forward, Honorable Minister, it is our hope to build this brand to be one that not only meets the needs of our stakeholders, but also makes a positive impact on the world. So may I take this opportunity, before I take my seat, to thank all our partners and stakeholders who have worked with us over the 73-year journey, and who I believe are represented here. And your invaluable support, Honorable, has made it possible for this rebranding to take place today. With these few words, I thank you.
Sorry. Thank you very much, ma'am. bosi vangu tinodada navo tati tikuzivisei kuti isu sebhodhi tinokudai. Panguva ino memu ndakukukumbiraiwo kuti mugotisimudzira mukokwa wedu mukuru musati magara pasi. Ndangoti ndiite favor, hapana kusina favor. SeWomen's Quarter havangagare vagosumukazve.
Thank you very much, Director of Ceremonies. Ladies and gentlemen, our guest of honor today is the Member of Parliament for Masvingo North constituency from 2013 to current, and also the MP-elect for Zaka Central constituency for the forthcoming elections. He was Deputy Minister of Agriculture, Mechanization and Rural Resettlement from 2013 to 2017, and also held the same post in the Ministry of Lands and Agriculture for the period 2017 to 2018. Subsequently, he became the Minister of State in the Vice President Mohati's office from 2018 to 2021, and the Minister of State in the Office of the President and Cabinet in charge of special agriculture and related programs from the period of 2021 to 2022. He was then transferred to the Ministry of Lands, Agriculture, Fisheries, Water and Rural Development in June 2022, the post he currently holds. In the Ministry of Lands, Agriculture, Fisheries, Water and Rural Development, the Honorable superintends over various ministry departments and parastatals such as the Department of Water, Sanitation and Hygiene, Fisheries, Irrigation Development, Agricultural Colleges, Zimbabwe National Water Authority, ZINWA, the Pig Industry Board, PIB, Agricultural Research Council, Cold Storage Company, Farmer Development Trust, African Center for Fertilizer Development, and the Tobacco Research Board. Our guest of honor is also a Central Committee member for the ruling ZANU-PF party, the party's highest decision-making body. Ladies and gentlemen, allow me to welcome our guest of honor today, none other than the Honorable Deputy Minister, Davis Marabira. Honorable, please let's rise as he comes to the podium. Thank you.
Thank you. We can get seated. Director of Ceremonies, varipano arikuti tungamirira. The Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Lands, Agriculture, Fisheries, Water and Rural Development, Dr. Basera, represented here. Directors from various ministries here present. Board members of Tobacco Research Board here present. The Chief Executive Officer of TRB, Dr. F. Magama. Chief Executive Officers from other various government agencies. Executives from agricultural industry at large, representatives of farmer organizations, representatives of agriculture financing houses, representatives of seed organizations, representatives of agricultural research associations, colleagues from the Fourth Estate, comrades and friends. distinguished guests, and ladies and gentlemen. It is my singular honor and privilege to address all of you here present today, gathered to witness this historic occasion, which I think we should all be happy to witness something which has gone for the last 73 years. And I believe there are very few people, if not even one of us, who was born before this institution was established. So it's quite a historic occasion, which marks the rebranding and official launch of the Tobacco Research Board's new corporate identity and trademark. Tobacco Research Board joins fellow ministry parastatals, including the Agriculture and Rural Development Authority, AFC Bank, Agricultural and Marketing Authority, Grain Marketing Board, Tobacco Industry Marketing Board, and the Zimbabwe National Water Authority in answering the call to rebrand in response to changes in their working environment and to satisfy government expectations. A myriad of sectoral plans and strategies, including the Agricultural Recovery Plan 2020 to 2024, Agriculture and Food System Transformation Strategies 2020 to 2024, Horticulture Recovery and Growth Plan 2020 to 2025, and the Tobacco Value Chain Transformation Strategy were put in place to guide these parastatals to effectively contribute towards National Development Strategy 1 and ultimately the attainment of Vision 2030. These blueprints have the main objective of engendering an inclusive agricultural transformation to achieve the target outcomes that include food security, import substitutions, diversified exports, enhanced value addition, employment creation, and improved incomes and standards of living in line with Vision 2030. In January 21, I gave the TRB a directive to reform and restructure through the implementation of several interventions, the majority of which they have since implemented, and these include becoming the epicenter for national research, development, and innovation on tobacco, inclusive of tobacco alternatives and alternates. I'm happy to hear that the institution is already running with this broad mandate and since commenced research on alternates and alternative crops to tobacco, a strategy that will enable tobacco growers to start intruding into other enterprises alternate to tobacco growing to counter the WHO framework of tobacco control efforts. I'm told that from the research undertaken so far, some 4 exotic varieties of industrial hemp, Cannabis sativa from USA and China has been selected as adaptable to Zimbabwean conditions. However, to mitigate challenges with importation, seed, and issues to do with photo period sensitivity of imported varieties and cannabinoid fluctuations, a compliant breeding and agronomic program making use of our local genetics and indigenous knowledge systems aimed at developing our own adapted varieties is being done and taking place here at TRB. I'm also aware that the team has been busy with the development of protocols for tissue culture propagation of various fruit trees species, including citrus, blueberries, bananas, macadamia, that tobacco farmers can also focus on instead of just focusing on tobacco. This dovetails perfectly with His Excellency, the President of Zimbabwe, Horticultural Recovery Program, which aims to see rural households plant 18 million fruit trees by 2025 under the rural industrialization, which is going to achieve rural development by 2025. This is being done by issuing out 10 plants per household. And the President is focusing at 35,000 villages. Think of every villager in your rural home area having 10 fruit trees at their homesteads. I'm talking of every villager, not a village. Munwega wega arikumusha a family having 10 trees. That is the President thinking for 2025. And this thinking from the President is focusing on rural industrialization, which will in turn lead to rural development. And the President is also looking at 300 fruit trees per every school. And we get most of our schools in rural areas. That means the focus goes on rural development. And out of rural development, we already have a good partner, our Tobacco Research Board, which is going to brand today and change because of all these focuses. Kutsaga would thus be one of the necessary plans taking part in availing virus-free and quality tree seedlings from tissue culture. So that means all the research for our rural development is going to happen here at TRB. Where are we going to be with our tobacco? Despite the TRB's expanded mandate, I'm happy to see the research work on tobacco, which has not suffered, as evidenced by the fact that new genetics continue to be developed, and a batch of 4 climate smart varieties was released in March this year. That means, despite the fact that we are focusing on all other things which we would want to have in order to get out of tobacco, we did not stop researching on better varieties for tobacco. TRB has developed and is developing varieties and cultivars which will yield at least 6,000 kgs per hectare. And some will even go further to yield an additional 2,000 to make a total of 8,000 kgs per hectare. And it's being done here. Can we clap hands for the registration? They will not only try to increase the volume of our tobacco per hectare, but they will also improve the quality. They will have the best forage. So they are also improving on quality of our tobacco. This will be a game changer for the industry and a game changer for our country. Ladies and gentlemen, this year Zimbabwe has recorded the highest production in its history. A source for the ongoing 2023 marketing season currently stands at 275 million kilograms. I heard the chairman, she was talking of 48,000 kgs, 48 million kgs in the last, possibly, my records not very correct, possibly 10 years. But today, before we even close our sales, we are sitting on 275 million kilograms, surpassing the previous record of 259 million kilograms attained in the 2019 season, and moving swiftly to our targeted yields of 300 million set for 2025. So before we even reach the 2025, we'll be sitting on 300 million kgs in 2023. I want us to clap again for Tobacco Research Board for coming up with such good varieties. And I said, it's not about producing quantity. The research goes on to produce good quality for the international world. This is a clear testament that the TRB has continued to deliver on its primary mandate of providing elite varieties, science-based practical information, services, and products to enable the attainment of set target of 3 million kgs as outlined in the Tobacco Value Chain Transformation Plan. The record production in tobacco comes after the record wheat production in 2022, meaning that government policies and plans on agricultural transformation are on course and will continue to bear fruits. Some will ask, why do I mention wheat? We've produced 375, am I correct?
Yes. Yeah.
Tons of wheat. That means Zimbabwe, as we are sitting at today, is no longer an importer of wheat. We actually have a leeway to export 15,000 tons of wheat to the region. I've been out yesterday when the chief executive called me to officiate this program. We are currently sitting on slightly above 86,000 hectares of wheat. And if our agronomic practices are going to be done and done well, that means we are going to yield at least 430,000 tons of wheat. Automatically, what it means is that Zimbabwe is going to be a major player in the export of wheat in the region and in the world. We don't have to look at Ukraine anymore, we don't have to look at Russia anymore, but we have to look at Zimbabwe. Expand research, development, technology, and innovations for accelerating sustainable and environmentally benign agricultural production practices. As far back as 2011, when Minister Masuka was the chief executive of this institution, TRB developed and successfully tested more efficient tobacco growing curing barns that reduce firewood use by 50% and reduce the curing cycle from 7 to 8 days to 5 to 6 days without compromising on tobacco quality. I think this is a very important area to cover. Accelerating sustainable and environmentally benign agricultural production practices. We have to keep our trees. So the reduction alone of firewood, it means through the research of TRB, the country is saving 50% of our trees. That means we don't destroy our environment and we keep the beauty and maintain our good climate. While there has been a fair rate of adoption of these bans, I want to urge all stakeholders to encourage growers to adopt this technology more aggressively. If all small-scale farmers adopted these more efficient curing bans, deforestation will be reduced by half and enable Zimbabwe to plant more trees to ensure sustainable tobacco production. I'm aware of plans afoot in the EU to ban in the next 2 years the buying of tobacco from countries that are producing tobacco unsustainably. I think growers, let's pay attention to this detail. There's actually a threat that if we go cutting trees kumushoko to feed our tobacco bans, and the international world is on us every second, that means those growing tobacco will only be able to sell tobacco to Zimbabweans, and that will be your market. It means we will have to go back to Kumusha, Kundogara, because that will have nothing to sell. So let's be very cautious about how we are going to manage our trees and how we are going to grow more trees to safeguard against the ban. This means as a country and as an economy, we lose the much needed foreign currency. So I'm happy Tobacco Research Board, let's keep on teaching, lecturing to our farmers about good ways of curing our tobacco. At the same time, I understand you breed a lot of eucalyptus seeds here. Let's force them to grow the eucalyptus so that we are not part of the ban. The production and distribution of eucalyptus seedlings for reforestation efforts to alleviate pressure on indigenous forests commenced here at Kutsaga in 2013 and has been going on since then. Through eucalyptus seedlings and supply to sustainable afforestation associations and free distribution to individual growers, TRB has successfully distributed some 20 million gum seedlings to tobacco growers in the period 2013 to 2022. Together with TIMB and other members of the trade, wider afforestation programs are underway. And under the Ministry's Bliss Afforestation Program, can we please continue to support this program so that we are kept in the tobacco growing and export systems? These initiatives, combined with the use of more efficient bans, will enable a sustainable approach to curing tobacco. TRB was tasked to provide evidence-based and modern data and information for tobacco production, including area and yield estimation for tobacco and other enterprises by tobacco farmers. I'm told this work is already underway as a collaborative study with TIMB. I want to see this work completed and implemented with agents, as it is an important component of the government's integrated agriculture information management systems, an e-governance program for enhancing agricultural growth, enabling easy access to timely, reliable, accurate, and area-specific information throughout the value chains. The other task is to ensure self-sufficiency in the national potato and horticulture micro-propagation for the presidential rural horticulture scheme. I think I've mentioned about 10 trees per household. And I've talked about trees going into the 35,000 villages. Some of you who may not know villages, can you accompany me this afternoon? I'll be going to my constituency. I'll show you what the villages are. I was happy to hear from the chairman that TRB's Irish potato seed production and multiplication project continues to grow, and that some 400,000 to 600,000 Go potato mini tubes are produced annually for onward transmission to G1 and G4 producers. The project enables TRB to contribute immensely toward the government's goal of import substitutions and substitution by ensuring farmers have access to locally produced, quality, disease-free seed potato. I think you've realized from the last 5 years, if not 10, that our consumption on potatoes is gone very high. So we have again to thank TRB for the research on potato tubings, which they are doing here, to make sure that we have our local production, we don't import, we have a potato bred with quality for Zimbabwean taste, not the GMO potatoes, but we have our locally modified potato for Zimbabweans. Ladies and gentlemen, efficient production of high quality seed potato tubers is essential for improved productivity and cannot be overemphasized. However, gone are the days when the country was solely dependent on production from the Eastern Highlands. As increased demand and changing environment conditions in the face of climate change, this has brought limitations to the sole reliance on this method of depending on the Eastern Highlands. Tissue culture production is therefore necessary to ensure the requisite numbers and constant production of quality and disease-free material. And this tissue culture again is being done here. You heard that there's a new plant which is right at the back, which is responsible for this production of tissue culture. In terms of sweet potato plantlet production, I'm aware
mascot, which is going to help us market this brand. So 1, 2, 3. Yes. So this is how we are going to receive capital needs and testing for design and what we can to announce ourselves and wait for the some digital platform, I advise about growers, everything our products. So we are launching also the mascot that goes to make sure that like a brand fixing in people's minds. Yes. I think allow us to
villages. Zimbabwe will start to export fruit. And Zimbabwe is going to be a major player in the export of fruit. Kutsaga is going to be a major player in the provision of materials meant for raw materials for our industries locally, the region and the international world. So this is quite a very good development. And I'm happy we have such a brand like Kutsaga in Zimbabwe, which is going to cater for the international world, which is going to cater for our own region, and which is going to cater for our own country. Think of all the people going to be employed by Kutsaga and other downstreams. Think of the raw material provision done by Kutsaga to the country, the region, and the international world. Think of the improvement in foreign currency generation. What about food and nutrition? Potatoes, sweet potatoes on our table. An improvement to our food and nutrition. Above all, think of improvement to our GDP of our provinces, our districts, and our country because of brand Kutsaga. I thank you.
Doing 15 hectares of tobacco, of dryland tobacco. And I'll say now I'm up to 150 hectares of irrigated tobacco. I appreciate you acknowledging and clapping for that, but that is not something I've done alone. It is something that's been done with an institute that I don't consider someone that we spend money on, but a partner. Being a farmer can be a very lonely journey. You're out in the lands and you're all alone. And I can tell you now as a personal testimony that for every challenge I have faced, anything that I've tried to improve on, there is nothing that this institute does not know. So for all the people that are standing now, Kutsaga employees, please put your hand up. I want to see you all. This is the team that has brought amazing change to this country. When we talk about getting to 300 million kgs of tobacco, it is not done without the people wearing these lovely new shirts today. So with that, wearing my farmer's hat on behalf of the farmers and the stakeholders and industry, we want to thank you, the Kutsaga staff and team, for the work that you continue to do, and know that you have a board that is here to support you, to drive, and to also to evolve, to make sure this institute is good for you and for everyone and for the nation. So we thank you again. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, allow me, on behalf of the TRB board and management, to express our appreciation to our guest of honor, of our parent ministry, Honorable Di Marapira, for taking the time of your busy schedule to be with us here today. We know that it's a very busy year, and we take the words that you said in your speech and we hope and we're looking forward to partnering with you to bring the change in rural development, as we know that is the vision of the President, and we as Kutsaga will continue to support that. To our valued stakeholders, partners, and government and structures here represented, we appreciate their unwavering support and dedication to our cause that you've given us over the decades of our existence. Gajirambe Jagadaro. A special thank you again to our management, to Frank and your team and staff. Your wholehearted dedication to our mission and gritty performance has demonstrated through your steadfast passion and commitment to the board. Thank you for making this day possible. We thank the Air Force Band for entertaining us today. You brought an energy that was literally, I think, as fit for the occasion, and we appreciate being our neighbors. And we always hear the music when we're in our board meetings, and we're always saying, I wish we were that side now. That sounds more fun than the debates we're having here in the boardroom. So we thank you for entertaining us today. Lastly, I take this opportunity once again to celebrate the new, renewed Kutsaga, which brings with it a new zeal, new hopes, and new opportunities, all for the prosperity of this country. So once again, thank you for coming. I wish you all a pleasant and delightful rest of the day, and to enjoy the food and have a wonderful time looking forward to the future. Thank you.
One, two. Ayo angati maomberero maoko board member we Kutsaga.